I bet it's pretty decent when you got someone that can roll a J worth of shit. I mean, mine was okay. It just, I don't know. I didn't roll it the best that I could, and with the wind roll or with the window rolled down and the wind kind of coming in a little bit, it kind of cooked that J ski a little bit. I mean, it was okay. It was marginal. Buddy. I mean, you got me like beat head and shoulders, dude. Head and fucking shoulders. That cone you rolled up, you're cooking with this shit now, man. Like, what the fuck? I'm seriously caveman status over here. I've got to go get a new fucking bowl. I got to find a smoke shop around here.
Yeah, I do need to get a new little bubbler. I miss my old bubbler.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a good one, dude.
I think I only paid like $20 for that thing too. Maybe tomorrow on the way home, I'll stop and pick me up something new.
And that's what I'm looking for. Something that's not too expensive, but a little bubbler would be nice. A little bit of filtration, because that's what I'm looking for. Something that's gonna last me a while. Something that I can clean, that I can take care of. That I can just put some miles on without roasting my lungs like I still smoke cigarettes. Dude, I'm over 2 weeks without dip, dude. Now, I gotta tell you, I've got sand all in my fucking vagina, but damn, am I happy.
Yeah, I wasn't putting that into context this morning. Okay.
Just the irritability stuff is real. I used to think that was bullshit, quit being a pussy, just quit smoking cigarettes. But no, it's real. And I mean, I've just been trying to go clean here. That's, I decided to get some beer tonight because it was podcast night. But, I still got a little bit of Bud left. I don't really know how much because I was an inefficient fuck. And I picked some of the, because it was so seedy. Not that I really had a problem with that or anything. It was just...
Fuck that shit.
I know you weren't a fan of it, but it slowed me down. I didn't smoke as much. It lasted just a lot longer than it normally does. But now I've got like 2 mason jars half full of seeds and stems that still have a little bit of bud left on them. So I didn't smoke anything today, and I don't know. I just one thing at a time, Now,
are you still using your like your vape thing?
I do. Yeah. I have been a little bit. I accidentally cracked the stem on it, but the box still works. Because you can smoke it without that little glass stem.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just not quite as smooth. But I do. Some when I start getting low on weed, I'll start vaping that and then smoking the ABB afterwards. But for like the past month, I've had some Jimmy rigged shit to actually smoke because I don't have any. I think I got rid of that bong. Yeah, and I just really just went to my little magic flight box. And I just haven't been to a head shop around here yet.
And we can kind of start on that note. So this is episode 36 of the Poor Bastard's Almanac.
I'm glad you're keeping count because I just fucking show up when I need to show up.
So my brother came over the other day and he was actually looking at my, because he apparently has made butter before. And
well, of course he has. I mean, with his culinary background.
Dude, apparently he and his coworkers made it at the restaurant one day.
I mean, hey, look. Why the fuck not?
Right?
It's got a hood vent. The place isn't going to be stinking. Let's fry some bacon or some shit next to it.
Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, so I showed it to him. I was like, wait. I was like, is it supposed to be green? And he's like, yeah. I mean, it's a little green. I was like, no. I was like, this is some fucking Peter Rabbit shit. Even the whites were green. And he looks at it. He's like
GAC or something.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it is. He looks at it. He's like, oh, fuck. I don't think it's supposed to be that green. So it's some, have you, oh, yeah. Oh, no, you don't have any yet. I got to give you some, dude.
Hey, I appreciate that. I was thinking earlier today, dude. And this may be redacted from the podcast. The significant other might be receptive to that.
What?
Possibly. Because, I mean, I told her, I was like, because I told her, I was like, look, I mean, this might be redacted territory here. It's like, look, someone has to make this, around here. And, this is something, that I've never tried before. And anyways, I told her I'm Aladdin standing on the carpet, extending my hand. Do you trust me? A whole new world. You know what I'm saying, man? A whole new fucking world.
I mean, yeah.
For real, though, I probably will watch Aladdin.
The new one?
Oh, no, definitely the first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I did not realize that Return of Jafar went straight to video. The voice actor for the genie was totally different.
Yeah.
As was Princess Jasmine. Now, I can't believe I didn't notice the genie. But the last time I watched Return of Jafar, I definitely noticed that Princess Jasmine had a totally different voice actor. And her character kind of acted a little bit different too. But anyways, yeah. That video you showed me about, Robin Williams and his little spat with Disney, like, don't use my voice to sell shit, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the allegation is that movie was the kickstart for like all of this. Everything's got to have star power. Nothing can be sold on its own merits. You have to have some big name star to sell your movie.
Somebody once told me. Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, that is really weird pitching the voice actors in the trailer for the movie. It just seems odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that's marketing because the adults know who the fuck they are, But yeah, I cannot believe I never realized that Return of Jafar's genie was Homer Simpson. Did not realize that at all.
Oh, shit. Dan Casta, whatever.
I don't know. Shit. Here we are in the age of the internet. Might as well. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Dan Castellaneta.
Something like that. I don't know. Fucking Mexicans, dude, taking their jobs.
Yeah, the two L's there. Tell me to say the Y sound there. Castellaneta.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's I mean, that apparently, dude, so the Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob and like this fucking voice of everybody, he was the dude in the Tonight Smashing Pumpkins music video.
Oh, what?
Yeah, SpongeBob was in a Pumpkins video. That's pretty wild. But voice actors really, apparently there's not a lot of voice actors. And I don't think voice actors make a whole lot of money, except for like your Tom Kenny, Dan Casta, whatever. The chick that plays Bubbles, she gets a bunch of roles. Can't think of her name off the top of my head. Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, just those recurring voices. And like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's so and so's voice.
Yeah, there's a guy in a lot of anime that I recognize. He plays Tomoki in Heaven's Lost Property.
Okay.
He's also one of the kids in Ghost Stories. He's got like a real raspy kid's voice.
I was about to bring up anime voice actors. It's like the voice actors in Skyrim. There's like 6 or 7 of them.
Tara Strong, that's her name. Yeah, Tara Strong is the she's got like a super like little girl voice kind of thing. So Matt Stone and Trey Parker are the richest voice actors, according to this list on some website. And of course, I mean, of course.
Yeah, why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
The only 2 voice actors for that whole fucking show.
Followed by, of course, Seth MacFarlane. And then Mike Judge is up there at number 4. And then, like, the entire Simpsons cast. Pretty crazy. Dude, so there's a huge update to American Truck Simulator. Just came out on the 10th. 1.35. It's got experimental DirectX 11 support. GPS voice navigation. Let's see. They improved traffic lights and signs. There's new types of trailers that you can purchase, but there's something to do with mods, and adding modded trucks into the game apparently is a lot easier. Seems to be, at least. And they've added Steam controller support. I don't know what that means for me. Modded trucks support in-game function, okay. Input improvements, yeah. Steam controller support. So I need to better FF on Linux. I don't know what that means. But I'm still running the Windows version because I was kind of disappointed in the Linux version. So that's kind of cool. I wonder which of my mods are broken now.
So you've got official DLC and mods rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, let's see what's broken. Let's pop in and see. Kind of interesting that they've got Steam controller support, but I don't think I want to fuck up my config that I've already got. I just don't think I want to do it. But dude, you talked me into some Skyrim mods.
Yeah, I sure did. Damn if I didn't.
Twisted my fucking arm, dude. Fuck you, man. You're a piece of shit. You've always been a piece of shit.
Fighting like a motherfucker to get those things loaded too.
Dude, I probably spent a good 10 hours modding Skyrim. An 8-year-old video game. 7.5-year-old video game.
Dude, I remember when that shit released. We were in the motherfucking mountains.
Yep.
And you looked at me and you were like, dude, there's an awful lot of people out right now for Skyrim to have been released today. I fucking remember you telling me that.
Shit.
11/11/11, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, we got to play like a couple hours of it the morning or the night before.
I can't remember. I just know that you threw a leak on a fire and we sat there watching that shit to see if it turned into a grill leak.
It did not.
It did not.
Oh
my God.
kind of surprised that it didn't, but yeah.
Fucking Bethesda. I bet there's a mod for that now.
So I haven't. The only mods I'm rolling on American Truck Sim are Minimal Advisor interface, which is nice. It gives me a tiny little bar so I can keep up with shit that I wish was on the GPS. And realistic headlighting, because vanilla headlights in this game are terrible. I've got all these truck mods downloaded, but I don't have them active. And it's because of this weird, like the weird way that it adds trucks in the game. Apparently it can break your game severely if you add trucks in. And I think they like replace other trucks. I'm not sure. I think it's kind of janky, but I'm excited to see if it works well, you know. I'm not going to try them just yet. I'm going to give this game a week or so to get all the mods updated and shit. Let's see if those two mods even work. But yeah, so with Skyrim, oh, dude. All right, so it runs fine on Proton. No issues there at all. But Mod Organizer, the new Nexus Mod Manager is called Vortex. These things don't work right because they use mod profiles, which use like virtual links. That's how they establish different mod profiles. And I know with Mod Organizer, the method they use is specific to Windows. And apparently Wine doesn't emulate that very well. So I'm kind of screwed there. There's nothing I can really do as far as using a mod manager. So I dug into installing all these mods by hand. And I mean, it probably did really take me about 10 hours to get it all. My girlfriend was like, what in the fuck are you doing? Why don't you just play the game? And I'm like, you can't just play the game. Like, this is playing the game. I am playing the game. What are you talking about?
Yes, let's get Sean Bean old Ned Stark to put his index finger and thumb together and say, one does not simply play Skyrim.
And so yeah, I downloaded all the files manually. I installed them all manually. Some of them, which were like specifically FO mods, were very fun. Whereas I could have just clicked a few checkboxes in the mod organizer, I had to extract. See, they're all labeled in different folders. Like each one of those checkboxes kind of corresponds to a folder, kinda. I mean, that's the dumb way of saying it. So I just had to extract each one of those folders separately, but then concatenate them, like put them all together into a single folder, and that would be my mod install. Now I drag all of that into my data file because some of those files overwrite each other, and I want to make sure that, I overwrite the correct ones. And then I drag that over into my data folder. So if anybody gives a shit, to get SKSE working, I had to, personally, I've heard different methods work, but only way I was able to get it working was I had to rename Skyrim Launcher to just a backup file and rename Skyrim Loader, SKSE Loader to Skyrim Launcher. And then I could launch it from Steam. It would launch what it thought was Skyrim Launcher, which was SKSE Loader, and it would work from there. And so when I started installing mods, I just had to get a specific install order kind of in mind. So I downloaded everything that I wanted. And not everything was feasible. Some of them you had to run external programs. There were a few like Skyrim and Percus Maximus. you had to run a program to update some other files. I'm not really sure exactly what they did. So I wasn't able to do those.
Shit, man. Then I probably don't have Skyrim installed properly on mine.
You might check and see, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Skyrim was one that they said you to run an external like patcher exe file to update some game data.
Okay, shit. See, I thought I had let Skyrim update and I thought it had broken a lot of my mods, so I uninstalled everything. And then I reinstalled some shit, piece by piece until I've got my current build, but it's everything that I had already previously downloaded, actually probably over a year ago. Some of those mods are several years old.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I kind of was iffy on giving you my mod load order because, like I said, I had shit in there that was, but still, if you went to the mod page, you'd get the most updated version. But I still had a couple of ESPs that weren't activated in there. So, it's not exactly cobbled together with duct tape and baling wire, but it's pretty fucking close. It's still a decent build. Still a decent mod build for what I've got going. But like those LOD textures, like that exe that you run to take all of your texture packs into consideration, I guess, all your mods and stuff like that, so they can render the proper long distance textures.
Yeah.
I need to do something like that. But with the Summer Flora overhaul, and I've got something else in there, I really haven't been in a wide open spaces where LOD textures have really been a big deal. Because even in like places like the Reach and stuff like that, where you might be able to see a far away, it's still, the vanilla textures in the Reach are, I can deal with them. But, approaching something like Whiterun from the west, I had a lot of pop-ins on that, random bushes and stuff, from the Flora overhaul, actually. And I don't really know how to clean that up. But I did have a lot of pop-ins from that. There was actually a funny meme in our gaming related to Truck Sim.
Really?
Oh, roses are red. I need to pee. Cyberpunk 2077 and other E3 games are getting outsold on Steam by American Truck Simulator DLC. Pretty bug, man. Pretty bug. And the title of that post is, I need to take a huge piss.
Dude, yeah, it surprises me that I think this is one of the top selling games, I think. Which is not super surprising, I guess. I don't know. It's a cool game, that's for sure. So, let's see. What else did I have to do? So that was a lot of my manual installs, was I had to get together just my list of shit first, because some things you want to overwrite other things. And when you don't have a mod manager to do this for you dynamically, because they'll keep up with what files were overwritten. And when you change your load order, they automatically change, all right, so these files get overwritten by these files, when you change your load order in your mod manager. But that's not an option when you're doing it manually. So I would have to rename my file so I could actually load the real launcher again and change my load order every few mods, especially if they were big mods. Some things, like all of your SKSE plugins, they're not such a big deal because, none of those are really going to conflict with one another. They don't have actual like ESPs and shit that go with them. But So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of like early preparation, and there were a handful of other mods that I just couldn't install. So I ended up with like Ordinator to do my perks, which I'm enjoying Ordinator. There's a ton of perks now.
That banner with heavy armor, that sounds like the shit, dude.
Yeah, you get a
or a battle standard.
A battle standard, yeah. It is. It seems pretty cool. I'm excited to kind of get there, but that's going to be way, many hours from now.
Not to invoke that swear word World of Warcraft, but that was the absolute tits when my guild threw down a fucking banner and just started murking.
Hell yeah.
A certain guild of short people is what I'll say. Running around kicking people in the fucking knees. Anyways, I bet Skyrim has a badass battle standard for that perk.
I'm excited to see what it looks like. I assume it's physical. It may not be, but
I need to do Deadly Dragons and then restart. And go at it from cover to cover this time.
Yeah, I don't think it's been a long time since I've played without Deadly Dragons for sure.
See, that's the thing. I rarely, in a Bethesda game, I rarely play the main quest line.
Yeah, same.
Like I think I may have beaten Kvatch in Oblivion. And I think, who hasn't done the Fallout 3 storyline? I mean, New Vegas, how the fuck can you help doing the storyline in that?
Mm-hmm.
But Skyrim, I've went up to High Hrothgar and, spoke with those dudes and gotten some dragon shouts, and that's about it. I don't think I've played really either way truly on the Stormcloaks and Imperials. Which apparently getting that Civil War mod is supposed to be the shit. Because that's what I really had a problem with in the Xbox 360 version of Skyrim. Like, supposedly the Stormcloaks and Imperials are at odds with each other, and you hardly ever see them cross swords at all.
Oh, yeah. Talking about the War Zones mod? Is that what it is?
Yeah, something like that. Where it's like, it's no shit. I mean, it's... You've got to have a rig to not get lag with how many NPCs they've got out at one time.
I don't think I have anything installed like that. I did end up with one really cool mod. It's like realistic wildlife or something like that, and it changes.
Oh, Sky Test,
yeah. And that's a good mod. Just in fighting some random shit out in the woods so far, the AI for animals and stuff is much more realistic.
How is it with Wildcat?
It seems pretty cool. I don't like the only thing I've really noticed with Wildcat so far is like stumbling whenever I get whacked. And like you kind of like stumble off, like it's almost like your speed's increased a little bit while you're stumbling, but it's hard to see. But yeah, combat's a lot more visceral. I did run up on a conjurer, and he was at the Standing Stone, the whatever it is, the black thief or whatever, Standing Stone up near Riften. And I ran up on him, and he conjured up like a ghost on me. And I smashed him with my Warhammer a couple of times. I mean, it's quick. Combat's quick.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. I like that. I mean, but it almost... like running with Skyrim and all these combat mods, it's like you have to have somebody else. If you're outnumbered 2-1, you might be able to pull it off. If you work something in there, if you see them first, you might be able to pull off 2-on-1. 3-on-1, you are fucked, son.
Yeah.
You are absolutely fucked. I mean, you're gonna be fighting one dude and one of the other two is going to be stepping into you with a power attack, and you're not going to be able to handle it. It's a one shot. If someone hits you with a power attack, you're toast.
Fighting those packs of dogs has been really challenging because you can't outrun them.
Dude, I bet so, man. I need to get Sky Test and Deadly Dragons. That's and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it is just like one more pack of cigarettes, just one more mod, dude. Just one more, and then that's it. That's all I need.
Just keep an eye on your compatibility patches. Sky Test has one for something. I don't remember.
Oh, for Wildcat. Yeah, you told me about that.
Okay.
Because I wrote that down on a sticky note that I'm looking at right now.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, man, that Sky Test. Something else there. Something else outside of Sky Test that just kind of added to it. Oh, Birds of Skyrim. That's a good ambient mod that if you have something like a flora overhaul, something that changes the landscape a little bit and make it look a little more natural. Something like Birds of Skyrim, dude. I mean, just the sound files that has, and you'll just see ground birds and stuff like that. And I think there may be like either a patch for that or another separate mod that actually has birds in flight and stuff, and they'll light in trees and shit like that.
Now, was there an Oblivion mod that did that?
You know, I'm not sure. I did put some Oblivion mods together, and it'll start. I can play it for a little bit, but it's just a hair unstable. And I've been meaning to talk to you about this because I was just so surprised that Oblivion is less stable than Skyrim. And I probably have a quarter of the mods loaded in Oblivion than I do in Skyrim. I mean, I've probably got, I don't know, man. Shit, you've seen my load order in Skyrim. I've got a good bit hanging out there.
Yeah.
And really, I've had a couple of consistent crashes in very specific dungeons, and I've just left. And I think it had to do with the way I am. But combat, certain combat scenarios, I'll have a crash, but I won't get an error message when I crash. The game just straight up closes out clean, dude. Straight to the desktop. That's it. Every crash that I have is like that. So it's consistent in the manner that it's crashing, and just sometimes it's in combat, dude. And I mean, but the combat crashes are consistent in the sense that generally when I have a crash at the end of my session, it's during combat. Huh. Not that I can't restart the game and reload that save and go right back at it and progress further. It's just and I mean, it's just so hard for me to nail that down because I mean that was there is a Skyrim Combat ESP, and I have not ran that EXE that apparently patches a couple things. So I mean, it could have something to do with that. But that's really the only downside of the build that I've got right now. Combat in a playthrough when it gets along the 45-minute mark to an hour, you know, I can pretty much expect a crash somewhere around it.
My game crashes when I exit, which is kind of normal for a Bethesda game, for your game to crash on exit. But I found recently, since I've started playing with my Steam controller, I've found that I can just close the game via big picture mode and it will exit, because that just kills the app and all associated running things with it. especially since Steam is the one that starts your wine server and all that stuff. It makes sure to kill all that stuff for you. So as long as I exit via the big picture mode menu, it's not a problem. Now, speaking of big picture mode, I mentioned this to you the other day. I'm able to stream it via on my phone via the Steam Link app. And I can connect. So you can start, if you hold Y on your Steam controller as you boot it up, it'll start in Bluetooth mode. And you can connect it straight to your phone. And then, using the Steam Play app, you can stream any game over your network to your phone. It's really fucking sweet.
You realize you would have been burned at the fucking stake in medieval times for that, right? That is some, like, black magic witchery. That is so cool, though. For real. I got a pretty decent GWiz Wi-Fi router that's eventually going to give me and my family cancer. I think I'll be able to do stuff like that upstairs with with my router down here. That's pretty tight, man.
I definitely recommend a wired connection to your PC, obviously. That helps get your PC the maximum upload that it can get across your network. And that's, when you're connecting to it via Wi-Fi, your upload speed is basically unlimited. So then your speed is only determined by the connection of your phone to your Wi-Fi router. And just a tech tip there, poor bastards tech tip. Most routers have 2 bands on them now. Your 2.5 gigahertz and your 5 gigahertz. And they did this because 2.5 gigahertz is just an open frequency. I think you can use it for kind of anything. It's a common frequency. But the unfortunate thing is, like, microwaves operate on that same frequency, like your regular, everybody's still got house phones, so your house phones still work on that frequency. Like other shit works on that frequency, basically. So they introduced 5 gigahertz to kind of combat that, so there's not as much like interference on that frequency band. But the problem is, at 5 gigahertz, it's a higher frequency. So that means the signal doesn't propagate as far as your lower frequency band does. It's the exact same. Dude, there's a street sweeper. That's cool as shit. It's the exact same phenomenon when, like, somebody drives by your house with, like, the bass slammed and all you hear is the bass. It's because lower frequency takes lower energy to, it takes higher energy to get going, I guess, but it penetrates more easily, if that makes sense. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is, in a roundabout way, to try and get the best connection, try your lower band first if you're further away.
Oh, okay.
But if that's giving you trouble, also try your 5 gigahertz band, because it may be at that point, it may be an interference issue and not a signal strength issue.
To be honest, I haven't plugged up that new router yet, just because I haven't needed to yet. That new router. Because most of my shit's downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a really nice little, it's almost a separate room. It technically is not a separate room. We've got a huge ass master bedroom. And we've got almost like a separate room on our master bedroom that we don't have shit in right now. We want to put a love seat in there, and we want to put a nice entertainment center, because that's going to be mom and daddy's theater. You know what I'm saying? Mom and daddy's going to have their motherfucking theater upstairs, you know? And honestly, if I get VR, that's where I'm going to do it, up there. And I think I'll be good, man. I mean, not that I put too much trust in brands, but I mean, Netgear's okay. It's middle of the road, I guess. The Netgear stuff that I'm using right now is all right. I mean, that's the modem that the interface is okay. And I mean, I guess it really is an upgrade off of that Motorola Surfboard router, modem router combo that I got, freaking 6 years ago. So I think I should be good, man.
Probably.
With that router. It's pretty gee whiz. I mean, that shit looks like a spaceship. That's probably more than I'll need. Honestly, I'll probably be able to cut the damn grass outside with my phone in my pocket, listening to music and shit on my network, and not burn up a single, minute worth of data.
Yeah, you should be able to. Most routers nowadays are pretty good with high power and stuff like that. As long as you get up in like the $100 range, like $60 to $100 is a good, like, kind of middle of the road. You can blow like $300 on a router.
No, dude. God almighty. And I was not about to do that bullshit standing in Best Buy. It was bad enough that I had to drive to a fucking store to get that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got like a massive, like 2-story, like 5,000 square foot house, then yeah, you probably need either a multi-point router that has multiple access points, or something super with like 6 antennas and shit like that.
I've got 4 antennas on mine. I mean, I could probably toast a ham sandwich upstairs if I wanted. Yeah. Well, whenever you make it over here to see the digs, man, you're gonna see that router and be like, yeah, dude, you're better not give your neighbors the password to your fucking Wi-Fi network.
Hell yeah.
They'll be able to connect.
I'm sure. Hell yeah. So yeah, video was a little weird. I had a low signal for some reason, but I was all the way across my house, which I don't have a giant house, but I'm going to try it again tonight and use my 2.5 gig connection instead of my 5 gig connection, and see what kind of difference that makes. But it's very cool. So yeah, I was able to play Skyrim on my phone in bed. I've got one of those little claw things, so it like holds my phone above my head. So it's very cool, even on a small screen. I've got a Pixel 2 XL. So I mean, I guess it's a biggish screen for a phone. It's bigger than most of your regular iPhones and shit. It's good enough to play some Skyrim on. We'll see if combat is easy at all, or if like dark caves are easy, because my phone is a lot darker than because my phone will do true blacks because it's an OLED screen. My TV is not. It's a regular LED. So blacks on my TV are still, somewhat dark gray. So I did notice a huge change in contrast on my phone, whereas the blacks were super black, and it just made the contrast very striking. But it's cool because your phone also has like touch input that translates as well as like a mouse input, so you can still use, even with a game like Skyrim, because I'm using mouse and keyboard controls even with my Steam controller, so I can still use like a pointer and stuff with my finger if I have to. But I get a lot more precision and a lot more, mostly just precision using mouse and keyboard with my controller. Because then it's not trying to emulate a joystick; it's just emulating mouse input. And with my thumb on the touchpad, it's pretty intuitive. I didn't really think about this, but I might want to do that with Truck Simulator. On my right thumb pad, I've got like my neutral button and my engine brake button. But I wonder if it would be a lot easier to have and I've got my look around on my left thumbstick. I wonder if I need to swap those so I can look around with my touchpad and get a lot more precision out of it. And that way I can like turn my head quicker. Because right now I can't turn my head very fast because it's on a fucking joystick. So like actually like looking around to try and take in the sights isn't super intuitive. I might give that a shot. But that's what I love about the Steam controller is digging into the settings, man. Being able to make it what you want it to be.
So what I need, man, it is what I need, because I've got an Xbox 360 controller for my PC, right? Because I run Windows 7. I've got an Xbox One controller. See, I didn't realize it was an Xbox One controller. I just thought it was a new fucking Xbox controller. So the newer Xbox One controller will not work on Windows 7 because Microsoft are cockheads and there's some bullshit going on with the driver for that.
Yeah.
So I have to use my Xbox 360 controller on my Windows 7 computer. But on my Windows 10 laptop, I can use both. So me and the missus can play co-op stuff, on my laptop. Co-op ROM hacks and shit like that, which, by the way, I've gotten her receptive to Mario ROM hacks, and we have tried some fucked up shit lately, and it's been fun, dude. It's been fun. She likes it, man. Just this evening, I happened to stumble across something today on SMW Central. Check it out, by the way. Great place for a bunch of Super Mario ROM hacks. And there was a guy that had made some new power-ups. Some power-ups that had, debuted in Super Mario Wii. And this was for Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. SNES Super Mario World.
You got like the bee costume and shit?
Not the bee costume. There is a secret world in the Donut Ghost House. If you go to the Donut Ghost House, you beat Yoshi's Island, all that bullshit down the first little area you start out with. Mm-hmm. Start out at. You go north and there's that little lake. Where you wrap your way around that lake, there's the Donut Ghost House.
Oh yeah, right.
You start that ghost house and you got to have a feather and you have to be quick about it because there's all those ghosts floating above your head that are in the background, but they'll come into the foreground if you hang around too long. Basically what you've got to do is you've got to run and fly up above right where you start.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a little door that you eventually go to and it's a secret exit. And that secret level in this particular ROM patch, you know how you go to the top secret level and there's 5 question mark blocks, 2 fire flowers, 2 feathers, and a Yoshi.
Yep.
Well, to the right of that, I'm not even shitting you. There are like 10 question mark blocks. And they're all different power-ups that this guy has, created and hacked in. And I mean, and they all have proper sprites for riding Yoshi. Now, there were some trade-offs in this, and I guess you could technically call it a ROM hack. All this guy did was create power-ups that he put into this secret level. They don't, as far as I know, they don't spawn organically out in other levels. You have to go to the top secret level to get them. But like Luigi doesn't have a sprite. If you play a 2-player game and it's Luigi's turn, he's got a Mario sprite. And I was just thinking about the logic of this. It probably wasn't feasible for this guy to make a Mario and Luigi sprite for every last, because I'm not shitting you. It was like 10 different power ups. I mean, a Hammer Brothers power up, a Boomerang Brothers power up, a little blue mushroom that shrunk you, the orange mushroom with the little spinny top. There was even a cat bell that he turned into that Mario turns into a little cat and he can swipe.
Holy shit.
The Tanuki suit, the penguin suit, the fucking, the leaf that turns him into the raccoon, where you throw little ice balls, snowballs that freeze enemies. I mean, it was very, very impressive how many power-ups this guy put into the game, and all the sprites were just magnifique. I mean, this guy did a great job. But of course, you fuck with an area of a game like that, and it's going to be buggy to a degree. Like something that me and my wife noticed beating the game up until that secret level is that, in Super Mario World, you can have an item in reserve, and it's kind of at the top, center of the screen, that little blue box. Sometimes the game would have the wrong texture for the power up that you had in reserve. And I mean, I guess if you fuck with the power ups of a Mario game, it's not going to be quite right all across the board. So I mean, it's not like that was a big deal. It was definitely more than an even trade off for the cool power ups that are available.
Is that the only difference in that particular hack? Is just the power ups?
Yeah, as far as I know, in the zip file was just called Power Ups Patch, and inside of it was a .smc file that you just ran straight out of whatever emulator you got. I don't think this guy has released that stuff yet for other people to use in their own ROM hacks yet.
Okay.
But I mean, shit, dude. That's my wife's favorite Mario game, Super Mario World, and adding power ups. I mean, that's shit, man. That's enough of a new spice to play it.
I've been saying it for a while. I really want to get a working Wii again and get like homebrew back on it. Get like Super Mario War, and I've got a ton of games that I just backed up all my games to my hard drive because I never expected. Like, dude, my Super NES doesn't work, but I think it's just the power supply. Dude, my Wii still works. I mean, not my Wii, my Nintendo 64 still works. Thank you for all those games, by the way. My GameCube still works. My console's older than my Wii still work, and for some reason my Wii's broken.
Me and my wife thought that our Wii was broken. And I thought it was the power supply as well. That it just... you plugged it in and it was just bricked. I don't know how we fixed it, man. I don't know but there was a period of time there where I thought that it was the power supply for her Wii. And yeah, dude, that's something that I want to get that Wii completely 100% functional again. I mean, we got a couple of controllers. We're missing nunchucks and stuff. So we really can't. But I mean, when we play Wii Sports, it's bowling and golf. You don't need a nunchuck. But I mean, there's a couple of things that I'd like to play. We got Super Smash Brothers, Brawl. I want to be able to play that shit. I want to, get. It wasn't Breath of the Wild. It was the Zelda on the Wii that had all the beautiful watercolors. Skyward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really want to play that, man.
It's good. I beat it. I don't know. Everybody was super. Oh wait, can I not go that way? Everybody was like, I don't know. Maybe did you ever play Twilight Princess?
That's the one Zelda game. I mean, I've played Zelda 1 and 2 for the NES more than I have Twilight Princess.
Everybody seems to love that one. But
get that feeling, man.
I didn't think it was that great. I got it the day it came out. I beat it in like less than a week. I mean, I slammed the shit out of that game, but I just didn't. It didn't really click with me. I don't know. It was good. I mean, I don't know. This was on the heels of Wind Waker, though. And Wind Waker was a great game. Which is also, used to be an unpopular opinion. People did not like Wind Waker when it came out. They fucking hated it. I loved it.
That new art style really threw people off. Like and that was back when I was in the game magazine days. You know, that's how I got the news that was the system that I didn't own. I never owned. I mean, the GameCube library is still pretty fresh for me. I mean, it's really only been the past couple of years that I realized that GameCube games run really well on the computers that I own, even on my laptop. Man.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah, it's surprising how well GameCube games run. And I think the GameCube's got a great library, man. And Wind Waker is one of the smoothest games that I've got. I mean, Twilight Princess is okay. There were just some texture problems that I was having with that I've since fixed. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I've just not made my way back to Twilight Princess. Eventually, I will go after that just because I love Zelda. And I won't lie, that's part of it. Having a Zelda that old that I can still experience as new is, you know, I like that. I like knowing that I can, you know, that there's still a decently recent Zelda game that I haven't played yet. Hey, real quick off topic, I did see a YouTube video today that had the uploader had hacked in a Sonic character model in both Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. And of course, they had fucked with how fast the character could travel and stuff like that. It was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool to see that in Mario 64. Like, that dude went to Bob-omb Battlefield, ran all the way to the top of the hill and saw King Bob-omb, and then jumped off the top and stuff like that. And then, you know, in Ocarina of Time, he ran through Hyrule Field a little bit and stuff. Pretty tight, dude. Pretty tight. But it looked like he had only hacked in the character model. He didn't do anything to the sounds or anything like that. I mean, that's really not the point. It was really, that guy probably just did that just to see if he could get Sonic in those games, you know.
That's pretty cool, though. Dude,
Oh yeah.
Also off topic, I quit Chrono Trigger again.
Yeah, you did. Hey, and it'll always be there, dude.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, I've quit in the same place a few times now. I think once you get to like the end of time and the game kind of opens up and it kind of lets you, I don't know, the story is still very linear, but it opens up and it gives you all sorts of places you can go that you don't necessarily need to. And for me, I think I just get lost in all the options. I'm like, where the fuck was I going? Because I don't play it every day. I'd play it, a couple of times a week, though.
Bro, and if you forget where you're at, you're fucked with a capital F.
Yep. So
that's how my last playthrough ended, dude.
Yep. That's my third try. I don't know. I might come back to it again one day, but yeah.
Chrono Cross is good. I'll tell you, man. I saw something today that said, good pixel art ages well. And then they were like, and it ages better than this. And of course they showed, just a couple seconds of an early PSX game, PlayStation 1 game, I've always thought that early PlayStation games, they just seemed so jagged. They were 3D, but there was like still kind of pixel art here and there, and just the The polygons, the textures were just so jagged and stuff, and it just looked like asshole, But
dude, some of those Saturn games, like what, Virtua Fighter for the Sega Saturn, yeah.
Oh yeah, baby, yeah. I remember that shit being in the arcades. How about that for showing my fucking age?
What's an arcade?
Yeah, what the fuck's a quarter?
Right.
Can I just Venmo that shit? But yeah, man. Yeah, good pixel art age as well. But I'll tell you, Chrono Cross isn't all that bad. I actually played through the first, 15, 20 minutes of Chrono Cross recently, and it's not too bad. I'll tell you, Chrono Cross was, Link to the Past is what I cut my teeth on. I was playing A Link to the Past when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I used to have to ask my mom to read me shit, okay? And I was pronouncing names in that game the way my mom pronounced them, And then when I could finally read, I was like, yo, mom totally fucked up this dude's name. It's like, dude,
you got to be talking about Sahasralim or whatever.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Sashrahala is what my mom called, and I'll still call him that to this day, dude. Fuck yeah!
Is it
Sashrahala?
What is it? Sahasralim or something like that? I don't remember.
Sahasra something.
Yeah. Fuck that guy's name.
Dude, you fucking nailed it, man. But yes, and that was, and then when I finally could read around 6, 7 years old, and I was good enough to beat it deep into the game. Like the Flute Kid, what a sad fucking story. Man.
Yeah.
What a sad, sad story. And, Chrono Cross was, I didn't start playing that until maybe late middle school, high school. In fact, I actually let one of a dude that you and I both know that was my age, I actually let him borrow Chrono Cross. He borrowed it for a couple of fucking months. And damn if that dude didn't give it back to me. And and anyhow, yeah, man, that's just such a deep storyline. Just
Chrono
the
Cross
whole, Oh yeah, because it's, instead of going back in time, it's you go to an alternate dimension. The main character, like when you start out your home world, the world you actually grew up in, you almost drowned as a child out on a beach. And somehow you go to the spot where you almost drown. Like on that beach, like the spot where you almost drown, and you can somehow go to another world. It's called Another World, home world and another world. And that beach where you almost drowned is kind of like, looking into the magic mirror in A Link to the Past. You go to another world there. And anyways, in another world, in the alternate world, you drowned as a child. You actually died. So no one knows who you are. If you go back to your hometown, there's a couple of people that will just remark on how you look vaguely familiar or something like that. But no one knows who the fuck you are in another world. And but the thing is with that game, you can get so many people into your party. I'm not even kidding you. There's over 20 different characters that have really intricate backstories and stuff that you can have in your party. And it's just so interesting how, the fact that there's another world and your home world, that means there's two versions of everybody. And if you have someone in your party, you can go to the alternate universe and talk to that person, with their alternate in your freaking party, and there's just some weird dialogue and stuff like that, and just the story is real deep. You end up switching bodies with the main bad guy. It's a 2-disc long game, And right at the end of the first disc, the main bad guy of the game switches bodies with you. And you start off the second disc as the bad guy of the fucking game.
That's pretty sweet. Like a little soft cliffhanger almost.
Oh, it is. And you're the bad guy. Like, you are the bad guy for a hot fucking minute in the second disc. I mean, it is like you have to fight yourself to get your form. And it's ridiculous. The battle system, the way they got it set up with different elements, there's obviously an even number of elements, and every character has an innate elemental, status. Some characters are the fire elemental status, some are the ice elemental status, and every elemental status has its own, strength and weakness. Like, it's good against this elemental, but is, weak against this one. And so you can only have 2 people in your party at a time. So 3 people max in a battle. So you really have to. You've got to have characters of every elemental. I mean, you really do. And those characters have to have decent elemental attacks to be able to counter what they're weak against or strong against. And anyway, it's really sweet, dude. That's just something that stood the test of time. The only thing that's really holding that back is the graphics, in my opinion. And I think they're tolerable. Didn't mean to give a review of Chrono Cross there in the middle of this, but I thought it was worth mentioning, man, because that's just a flagship title that, completely opened my eyes to a new genre. I mean, it's just one of those things that you end up comparing things to afterwards, I loved it, man. That was really one of the first times that I'd ever experienced an RPG with a truly gripping and deep story. Like, I never really played Legend of Dragoon too deeply. I never made it into the second or third discs of that. Like, I've heard a lot of people say Legend of Dragoon was pretty damn good. I just, it was just a little too much for me. But Chrono Cross is gripping enough to pull you through 2 discs for sure.
Final Fantasy IV was that game for me, for sure. I played it right when it came out, I guess. Final Fantasy II on the Super NES. But yeah, that's always been that game for me, though. Like, I've always really enjoyed that storyline. The music in that game is my favorite. Like, that's the game, probably. I mean, I was hooked on other games, but that's the game that really. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuck? God damn it. My Steam controller just quit. The fuck, Steam?
Oh, shit, dude. You're plowing at somebody on the road.
I just ran into the fucking guardrail. God damn it. That's going to be expensive. Trying to save up and do shit without taking out loans from the bank. But yeah, I don't know if it's these batteries. Hang on 1 second.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right. But yeah, Final Fantasy IV was the game to me that pretty much cemented that I would consume video games as my primary source of entertainment. I didn't need movies, shit like that. Like, video games was it.
I mean, dude, I just remember my imagination running wild over A Link to the Past. You know, I mean, and Mega Man and all that shit, dude. I loved it. Loved it. And the fact that I was so young, that those like Super Nintendo games like A Link to the Past, yeah, I started playing that when I was 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, I mean, it was like it took 4 or 5 years later before I beat the game, dude. Which seriously, it took me till I was 7 or 8 years old to beat Zelda: A Link to the Past. When I started playing that at 4 or 5 years old, taking 2 to 3 years, that was over half my lifetime at that fucking point. You know, that was a big deal.
Yeah.